I love to talk to young people, high school, college age in particular. They're old enough to get what I'm talking about, but they're young enough to really put it into practice. And one of the things I tell them is that all of us complete a sentence. I am what? What are you? What are you? There's a great story in psychology today about a young man who took his SATs, scored a 98, but was failing in college. And he said, well, how do you expect someone with a 98 to do well in college? That was an IQ test. When they explained that he was one of the smartest people ever to take the test, he went back and aced everything. And obviously the lesson is that you can't outperform your expectations. I think the bigger lesson is that this guy, it didn't matter how smart he was. He couldn't think his way beyond this. He was letting somebody else fill in the blank, I am stupid. And it makes such a difference. When we realize that we have the power to fill that in with whatever we want, it makes a huge difference. I told my son when he was little, he's just about 15 now, when he was going to school, I said, just because somebody's an adult and they tell you something doesn't mean they're right. You know, sometimes wisdom comes with age, and sometimes age comes alone. You know, and so trust yourself. Question these things, and you need to. Don't let somebody else fill in that blank for you. Fill it in yourself. Absolutely. It ain't what they call you. It's what you answer to. And, you know, no discussion of attitude is going to be complete without the half glass of water analogy. But stick with me for a minute. We're going to look at it in a different way. Some people haven't even heard of this because it's such an old cliche. But the idea is if you have a half glass of water, do you see it as half full or half empty? If you see the fullness, you are an optimist. If you say it's half empty, you're a pessimist. And that's fine as far as it goes. But we missed a bigger point. The question is it this or is it that? And the answer is yes. The answer is yes. See, as a negative person, I thought that if you were saying it's half full, you are, as one writer put, putting a positive icing on a negative cake. You know, it might look good, but it tastes awful. You're saying, oh, everything's fine. You know, everything's good. I'm in happy land. But, you know, I packed my rose-colored glasses away with my leisure suit. And so I wrestled with this. But I realized the answer is yes. It is both half full and half empty. And I have the power to simply choose to see it as half full, and I'm not denying the emptiness at all. And that was a real eye-opener to me. I have the power to choose that. The glass didn't change. Reality doesn't change at all. The only thing that changed was the way I chose to look at it. I ask a very basic question. Would you rather have, should I give you $50 or poke you in the eye with this giant lag bolt? And if you have to think about it too much, you've got some other issues to deal with. It doesn't come to that. This illustrates just a real basic point. We are motivated by two things. We're either motivated toward what we want or away from what we don't want. And so many people are only motivated by what they don't want. And because if it's painful here, well, I can go over here. And then it's not painful anymore, but this stuff catches up with you, or it's always something else. And so you go over here, and then you go over here, and then you go over there. And you end up running all over the place and wasting a lot of energy, and you feel like you're accomplishing something because you're worn out. But you end up just running around in circles. On the other hand, if you're motivated by what you do want, you know what it is. I'm going that way, and there it is. And you're not going to change your mind unless something really good comes along, and you do so very consciously and deliberately. So why don't we do more about it? The old quote from Mark Twain, everybody talks about the weather, but nobody does anything about it. It's too big, we can't. And I think on some level a lot of us believe that about stress. It's just too big. I don't know what to do. It's just, I'll deal with it later. Well, no, there's some good positive things you can do. And it's something that you practice, and it's something you get good at. Absolutely. Stress shows up in some weird places, though, too. They say perfectionists take great pains and give them to others. It's true. I think a lot of time perfectionists are really just dealing with their stress. They want control. We all want control. So the person who has the super clean house, that can be just a sign of stress, and I can't control anything else, but I can control my house. But just the opposite can be true too. The person who has the one that's going to be on the cover of Better Pits and Hovels can be a perfectionist. Yeah, my goal for my house is so out of reach I don't even try. The people who are contrarians, just looking for some control. I want some control over my life, so whatever you got, I'm against it. So what are you going to do about it? That's the most important thing. What are you going to do? It is a skill that we can learn. It's a skill we practice. It's something you hone, and it becomes easier over time. We need to de-stress, and there's some good ways to do that. I teach Tai Chi, and Tai Chi looks like slow motion karate. And it is a martial art. And so people say, well, what good is that? If you're attacked by somebody in slow motion, No, that's not what it is. Tai Chi is based on the principle that our mind and body are connected. And if they're not, then you've got some other issues again. Okay, joke. Woman comes home, she shouts, "Honey, pack your bags, I won the lottery." He says, "Where are we going?" She said, "I don't care where you go." Well, now when I tell a joke, you don't go through the process of saying, "That was a joke. On my top 10 list of jokes, that one rates," I think that's about an 8, isn't it? That's a good joke. Okay, for an 8-level joke, I laugh like this. And then you go, ha, ha, ha. You don't go through that process. You laugh. What's happening is you're having a physical reaction to your emotions because, humor is cerebral, laughter is physical. That's your mind-body connection. Anytime you cry at a wedding, funeral, and you get tense in traffic, that's your body having a physical reaction to your emotions. And the Chinese discovered a long time ago that this is a two-way street. It's a two-way street, and we can consciously drive the other way. And that's what Tai Chi is all about. Tai Chi, I'll do a little bit here as I'm talking, says that whatever we do physically, we do because it is a tool to get into our head. And if we are physically balanced, we are emotionally balanced. If we are physically connected, we are mentally connected. If we move with purpose, we think with purpose. All these things we do physically, we only do because they're tools to get in here. And it doesn't happen unless you practice. If you were to just stand and feel balanced, 10 minutes a day, you'll become more physically or more mentally balanced. And that doesn't mean mentally numb. It just means more balanced. Okay. High school psychology. We animals have two choices to stress, and they are fight or flight. Very good. Well, let's demonstrate that physically. This young man in a uniform just stands out in this crowd. So would you mind coming up and working with me for a minute? Thank you. And who are you? Dwayne. This is Dwayne. Now, Dwayne represents the stress in my life. It's the kids, it's the checkbook, it's all that.
You sound like my wife.
Yeah. All right. Do you have any sharp objects in your pocket or any back? All right. We're going to demonstrate. Let's move over here a little bit so folks can see. We're going to demonstrate fight or flight. And what I'm going to do is just stand like this, and I want you to give me a good push on the shoulder. Give me a good push. All right. All right. That's the fight part. Give me another good push, good strong push. All right. And that's the flight. Let's do that one more time because they'll think it's funny and see me get knocked around. All right. Good job. Now, this is, again, it's stress in my life. And it's not like the stress doesn't like me and wants to make my life miserable.
I feel better too.
Good. All right. The weather doesn't hate me, but it's still incoming stuff. But all this stress in my life, my only two choices are to fight it or run away. And that means I'm always controlled by these things outside. I don't like it because no matter what happens, I lose. Let's try it again. There's another option. Tai Chi says, let's relax physically. If we're relaxed physically, we're relaxed mentally. And then I have a moment. I have a moment of clarity. I choose how to react to this. And the whole world has changed. Thank you, Dwayne. I appreciate that. All right. Look what happened. It's a whole different way to act and interact with the world. Part of the problem is that we have been under stress for so long, and because of our mind-body connection, we get stressed physically, we get stressed mentally. You can't move when you're like this, you can't think when you're like this, but this has become normal. So when more stress happens, we're like this, and our reaction is to just be more of this. What we need to do is change our set point so that our natural place of being is one of relaxation physically and mentally. Then when stress happens and we do this, we realize that's different. Something's wrong here. We have a moment of clarity to decide how we want to react. Do I want to fight it? If so, when and how? And if I don't, then it's my choice. And the whole world changed.
Mm-hmm.